If you died today, what regrets would you have about your life? Working so much unpaid overtime at work. Holy shit, what a waste of time. Yeah, you should take some work off cause you could get overstressed and shit. I haven't lived yet. Not really. I haven't traveled a lot. Never kissed anybody. Never had a GF. Never really found purpose. Look man. I've been there. And it sucks that I just don't know how to convey this meaningfully. But you can find purpose and joy from within. My life hasn't been too eventful recently. But I've still found myself smiling like a dumbass buying groceries. Dancing around making breakfast. And while it frustrates me that I can't share this feeling directly, know that it is possible. That I wasted so much of it being what others wanted me to be. Same. Now working to get away from that. I have so many more things I want to see with my husband. He makes everything fascinating and beautiful. We could have 100 years and it won't be enough to see all I want to see with him. Same. We have a long list of weird hobbies we want to pursue and places we want to travel to once the kids are grown. Life is wonderful right now with a noisy, busy house. But we're also both really looking forward to being just the two of us again down the line. My only regret is that I have bonitis. You're a shark. Sharks are winners. And they don't look back because they have no necks. This show was golden and I miss it so much. That I never asked my crush out. I know what you mean. I have a similar story. I met a guy about a year ago and we spent 3 wild and crazy days together. Well, I don't have his phone number and it's been a year and I still haven't found him. Similar story for me. I thought my middle school crush was near perfect but for some reason had the balls to talk to her as a friend but never actually asked her out. First and only time such thing has ever happened to me. But then there's also my middle school friends who I had such incredible fun with. I still try sending emails to my middle school best friend's Gmail hoping he'll someday respond. I also try searching up their names on Google but no luck. And I'm beginning to forget some of their names. Nothing. But I'd wish I could live longer. Most humans would waste just as much of their lives. Even if we lived to 500. That I never got married. Same. I wanna marry the shitty out of my BF but we're too broke right now. That I didn't try to become a pilot. I stopped trying when I found out the Air Force wouldn't take me in because of my asthma. The cost of pilot school was just too expensive. But still. I keep wishing I just said F it and did it. I put it on the back burner after college. Got a job for 7 years and was unhappy the whole time. My girlfriend dumped me 2 months ago. I decided now was the time. I said FCK it and doing it. You can too. Not settling down and having kids. I'm 47 next year. Don't let fear of rejection stop you from even trying. My wife's uncle got married for the first time in his life this year. And he's 56. One of my great friend's parents were 45ish when they had him. It's still a possibility. Don't give up. I never got my own MF dog. If you have the time, resources, and ability as a tenant or homeowner to own one, there's thousands of dogs that need adopting. My GF and I probably weren't ready when we got ours. But 5 years later we wouldn't trade her for anything. I suppose none. Because I'm currently working hard toward my life goals. If I died, at least I could say I was trying hard. Dying. Mostly. I'd count that as a big regret. There's a good number of bridges I'd like to burn before I shove off this mortal coil though. Might seem petty. But sometimes. Some people need to be told what for. And you just can't because it's a bad idea. But if I'm dead tomorrow, I'd be speaking my mind good. Never telling my friend I'm in love with her. And never getting to apologize in person for being an insensitive ass. And not leaving her alone while she prepares to abort our child. I can't tell her because I said to text me when she's ready to talk. And she's gone dark for 3 days starting today. I regret not going with my cat Scout when he was put down almost 12 years ago. I'm sorry, buddy. I shouldn't have let my grief keep me from being there with you. That I'll let my ibs hold me back from living life to the fullest. Not having traveled enough. Now that we have this pandemic, I'm not sure when that can happen. Not being able to have an honest conversation or getting any closure from my narcissistic ex-husband who cheated on me last year. Being too afraid to ask people for things I believe I deserve. Not loving my body enough and pissing on my self-confidence. The list goes on. 1. Not dancing with my best friend when she asked me to. 2. Not visiting my sister when she was in prison. 3. Not being a better husband to both of my ex-wives. 4. Acting as weird as possible at school so people wouldn't want to talk to me or be around me. 5. Just being an all-around asshole. I never broke out of poverty. It's the only thing I really want out of life. Never asked for a family or partner. I just to be wealthy enough to be dignified and happy. Never experiencing deep love in a healthy relationship. I've loved but I've never gotten to be in a healthy, committed relationship with someone that I deeply love and feel fully connected to. I can't imagine anything worse than never getting to experience that. Sometimes I worry it will never happen. Having listened to my parents instead of doing what I really wanted to. They had good intention. But all of us forgot that my life and theirs is not the same. So now I feel like my life isn't mine. I spent a good portion of the last 10 years drunk and have done and said a lot of things that I need to make amends for. That I wasted so much time arguing with total strangers on social media about subjects that are, in the grand scheme of things, irrelevant. Never been in a relationship where I was fully in love with a person. I always dated people simply because they liked me. Never actually shared anything in common. There is one person I feel like I could love though. But that's its own story. If I was dead I don't think I believe I'd have no regrets. If I was in the process of dying and my brain still functioned, I might have some regrets to dwell on. That I didn't send Trump an anonymous bag of gummy dicks through the mail. If I do die, I want the last of my money to be spent on bags of gummy dicks to send to Trump. And a middle finger tombstone telling Trump to FCK off. With an apple tree growing from behind it. Close bracket. Spending 80% of it in formal education and feeling like I haven't done enough living. I never came out completely. Never took choir in elementary school. Never took art in middle school. Never took drama in high school. Wish I switched majors as soon as I hit the campus. Than waiting until I was about to blow my brains out. And dropping into an English class in the middle of the journey. Not knowing anyone in class that already had stories. Not kissing my baby brother and telling him how much his sissy loves him. Even though he wouldn't remember. Not reaching out to my bio half siblings who I've never met. Not spending enough time with family. It depends on the perspective a bit. Like in a purely ego-concerned and bodily desire sense. There are several women back in the day I was extremely attracted to that in retrospect I could have gotten with but was just too oblivious and shy to seal the deal with. I think about them all the time tbh. But in a more general, existential sense I don't really regret anything. Life is hard af. But life is painfully, ineffably beautiful. 2. I love myself for the beauty I produced in the world and forgive myself for my ugliness. And, most importantly, I aim to provide that same attitude to the actions of everyone I meet. Not being able to see my daughter grow up. Leaving my wife behind with the burden of being a young widow and raising a baby alone. Never getting to introduce my child to my family. Don't really have any. Don't stick to the past. Only learn from it. That I wasn't able to live long enough to really help people. Working on a psych degree during quarantine so I can be of some use as a therapist eventually. Never finding a purpose in life. Never finding love. Not going and exploring the world. Just being another random person that no one knows or even cares about. Not trying harder to keep the love of my life. One day, over 10 years ago now, she just left. I could have picked up my dirty socks. I could have complimented her more. I could have brought her flowers out of the blue once in a while. I could have done much more. Instead, I started to take her love for granted. Gradually over time I showed her less and less affection until she felt unloved and simply just left. She was there in the morning. But when I came back from work she and all her things was gone. Only thing left was a note simply stating that we were over and that I were to never contact her. So, I didn't. I also regret I didn't contact her. I have no idea about her whereabouts or what she is doing to this day. FCK. Why did I have to f***ing always leave my dirty work socks on the couch? I feel like I have more regrets than days that I have lived. My biggest is my marriage. I've been divorced for a year and a half. It's not so much because I was married. More of the reason why we were divorced. I wasn't there for her. Not in any real sense. She was my foundation that held me. And I messed it up. And I'll never be able to reconcile it because earlier this year she passed away from epilepsy complications. FML, I will never be okay. I will never be okay. That I didn't finish my Jeep. Years ago. I had a Jeep. Then another. And I took the kids out off-roading and camping and stuff. But they kinda stopped wanting to go with me. And I sold it for a race car. And for 3 years my kids kept asking me, why don't we go camping anymore, Dad? So I sold the race car and bought another Jeep. And getting parts to build it has been nearly impossible. And it took 3 months to get my lift kit. So it has just been sitting. I literally have 2 things left to finish it up. Rear brake line and some sway bar disconnects. And that's it. Done. Go camping off-roading. I don't know about any specific regrets. I never wanted to be public in any way. So any urge I had to create something sort of died with that at some point. I'd be mad at myself for procrastinating so much perhaps. I'd miss getting to know my friends. We know each other. But I want the close relationship that other people seem to have that I've never gotten with them. That I emotionally pushed women when I was a teenager, young adult, and ruined good friendships by being overly sexual and ruining platonic relationships for temporary desires. I really wanted kids. On the other hand, at least I did not leave a child behind who still needs me. I never reached my weight loss goal. Why did I work on that for months? That I'll leave my loved ones behind. I especially fear me dying would break my partner and really mess up my mum. And my grandma already had one of her kids die on her. So now a grandchild? That's harsh. Close bracket. I don't feel like I did anything in my life. I'll disappear and only a few people will care or even notice. There are several shows I watch I will never get to finish. Books by authors I like I will never get to read. I always wondered if I'd ever reach a point where I am just happy with my life. Apparently not. My biggest regret is my marriage didn't work out. And I'm sure it affected all 4 of our children. They were young when we divorced. And are grown now. I often wonder how their lives might have been different if we didn't divorce. But it was her choice. Not mine. But I did contribute to the breakdown of the marriage. That I never got to apologize for being a total FCK wit. And while I know she is the best thing that has happened to me so far and that I still have other great things to experience, I wish I could apologize one last time and let her know I'm sorry for being a big old f***ing idiot. I'd tell the truth. I never got to live. I slave away at jobs I despise expecting it can open me up for when I have free time to do all those things I want to do. I want to travel. I want to go on dates. I want to meet people and learn new things. Yet I always end up not doing any of those things due to lack of funds. Time or both. Wasting 10 years on a shitty game built on empty hopes and childish dreams with a community full of egoists who encourage histrionic behavior. I hate everything about this and I hate that if I died today it would have been an impressively awful letdown. A real tragedy that my family wasted their time. A real tragedy that I never saw through to the stuff that really mattered to me out of fear. Probably the time I was hurtful with this one guy I knew and never got to be his friend. Then I got homeschooled and moved far away, so I never got to see him again. Even though it has been years. Whenever I see his name I feel bad and wish I could just see him again and apologize. I would regret not having someone to love. Not becoming an artist. Missing the end of the movie I'm watching tomorrow at school, The Legend of the Sleepy Hollow. And never getting to steal my future BFGF's hoodie. To never tell to the girls I had a crush on that I actually got a crush on them. To not study or to have a master and be able to have a decent work. I'm single. Jobless. Broke and loneliness is killing me by the day. I don't know if it's a regret because I feel very privileged to be able to support my family, but it's all I do. I work so that I can support my family who consumes 95% of my pay because my dad is sick and has enormous medical bills. I feel like if I died today I wouldn't have an answer to the question of what was my life like. I feel like I have no life of my own and I'm just an ATM machine who spits out money. Not being successful enough to provide for my wife and kid, where if I did die they would be taken care of money wise, and also I would have the regret of not becoming the person my parents could be proud of. Everything I've ever been good at I've squandered. I've seen what it takes to go further than just letting initial talent mosey me through life, but I'm too f-king pathetic to even get up and do that.